Throughout the 2024 US presidential campaign, US President Donald Trump repeatedly said he would bring peace to Ukraine, end the war in Gaza, and pull the US back from foreign conflicts around the globe. And in his inaugural address back in January, Trump said, "My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier." But now, 5 months into Trump's presidency, the Russia-Ukraine war is well into its third year, with no peace deal in sight. Israel's military action in Gaza has only escalated, and it looks like the US soon could become directly involved in another conflict in the Middle East, as Iran and Israel continue attacking each other. So in this video, we'll recap Trump's pledges to bring peace, whether he's failed as a peacemaker, and whether this could change. We're getting ever closer to 1 million subscribers, and 68% of you haven't even subscribed yet. So lend us a hand and subscribe today. First, let's revisit the presidential election campaign. While the then US President and Democratic candidate Joe Biden was facing criticism for his handling of the war in Gaza, having been dubbed Genocide Joe by some pro-Palestine protesters, Republican candidate Donald Trump took the opportunity to present himself as someone who would cut deals and bring peace to Gaza and Ukraine, halt Iran's nuclear program, and pull the US back from its involvement in foreign conflicts under his America First foreign policy. During the campaign trail, Trump repeatedly pledged to end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours, and even said as far back as July 2023, "Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, we will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled." Similarly, while Trump did spend most of the campaign insisting he was Israel's best friend, he also said that Israel was, quote, losing the PR war, and suggested in April that Israel should, quote, get back to peace and stop killing people. Trump's peacemaker stance was popular both with supporters of his isolationist foreign policy and with younger voters, who were more likely to oppose the US's role in supporting Israel militarily. Trump's pledge to pull the US back from foreign conflict also played well with Americans, who were tired of decades of military interventions abroad, which have led to the deaths of thousands of US service members, with Trump referring to the US's role in the Middle East and Afghanistan as the US's forever wars. Moreover, YouGov polling from throughout the US election campaign showed that while foreign policy wasn't that important to voters as an issue, compared to the economy, healthcare or immigration, Trump retained a small but consistent lead over Democratic candidate Kamala Harris when it came to foreign policy, with a larger lead on specific issues like Ukraine and Israel. Anyway, in his November victory speech, Trump hit back at critics and repeated his peacemaker claim, saying, "They said he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars." However, since taking office, it's become clear that peacemaking isn't as easy as Trump expected. On Ukraine, there were some hopes for a ceasefire in early March, after the US successfully pressured Ukraine into agreeing to a 30-day ceasefire proposal along the front lines, in the sky, on energy infrastructure, and at sea, which Ukraine's EU allies were opposed to as they thought a land ceasefire would undermine Ukraine's territorial integrity and give Russia time to rearm. But Russia only agreed to a partial ceasefire limited to strikes on energy infrastructure, which it effectively ignored anyway, and the severity of Russia's assault has actually escalated in recent weeks. Secondly, on Gaza, Trump's peacemaking efforts appear to have had the opposite effect. Not only has Israel's military action continued, but in recent months it's escalated further, with the ongoing Operation Gideon's Chariots, which began in early May, leading to widespread international condemnation. Indeed, in his own words, Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich said Israel's aims were destroying everything that's left of Gaza. All in all, Trump's presidency appears to have emboldened Netanyahu, who appears confident that he can continue his attacks on Gaza, the West Bank, and now Iran too, with US backing. Aside from failed peacemaking in Ukraine and Gaza, Trump has also bombed Yemen's Houthi rebels, launched airstrikes on Somalia, and threatened to use military force to invade Greenland, which is somewhat surprising from a self-styled peacemaker. Now, you might say we're being too harsh to Trump here. After all, we're only 5 months into his presidency, and it's worth mentioning that Biden didn't do much better on the peace front. Nonetheless, we think it is a fair criticism, given Trump's focus on speedy peace deals during the campaign, and the fact that wars have actually gotten worse since he took office. So, why is Trump so bad at deals? Well, as we see it, there were at least 3 structural reasons. First, the Trump team's impatience. As he promised during the campaign, Trump has tried to rush other parties into quick deals, hoping that US set deadlines will force them into making the necessary concessions. However, when these deadlines pass, the only thing that usually happens is that Trump just loses interest. This obviously happens with the Liberation Day tariffs, but it also happened on multiple occasions during the Ukraine negotiations. Trump set a whole load of deadlines, but they passed without anything happening. In January, Trump's envoy Keith Kellogg mentioned a 100-day deadline, which was then extended to 180 days. In February, Trump apparently said he wanted a ceasefire by Easter, but this didn't happen. And then in late May, Trump said Putin had 2 weeks to demonstrate a commitment to peace. But this deadline has since passed, and again, nothing's happened. Second, the Trump team's myopic focus on economic issues. Trump is always squarely focused on who's getting value for money in negotiations, and often dangles the prospect of economic normalization, as he did with both Russia and Iran, as some sort of bargaining chip. Not only does this overlook the fact that, in many of these wars, the parties are fighting over deeper issues that can't be resolved by cash, it's also been exploited by negotiating parties. Zelensky massively overstated the value of Ukraine's rare earth deposits. Russian negotiators overestimated the losses suffered by American businesses who left Russia. And Netanyahu got Trump to agree to his plan to expel Palestinians out of Gaza by suggesting it could be redeveloped into some sort of Mediterranean Riviera in the meantime. Third, and finally, Trump's apparent affinity for strongmen, including most obviously Vladimir Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu, which has encouraged them to do classic strongman things, even if they undermine peace negotiations. The New York Times even reported on Tuesday that Trump didn't want to get involved in Iran until he awoke to Fox News coverage of what it was portraying as Israel's military genius, whereupon he decided he needed to take some credit. Now, again, none of this is in defense of Biden, who is also pretty rubbish at negotiating peace deals. Nonetheless, Trump's record so far is pretty terrible, and there are clearly structural reasons to be pessimistic about the future. Like a lot of things right now, this topic is increasingly complex and ever-changing. And here at TLDR, we're committed to learning more to help us understand the world around us. Luckily for us, our sponsor this week, Brilliant, helps us do just this. We know that learning a little every day is one of the most important things you can do, both for personal and professional growth. And Brilliant helps you get smarter in minutes a day. You can even perfect your skills wherever you are, whether you're on the go or winding down. It's the opposite of mindless scrolling. Brilliant has the perfect mix of engaging problems, competitive features, and daily encouragement that keeps you motivated and on track. For instance, Brilliant's data science content uses real-world data to train you to see trends and make better informed decisions. No matter your level of skill, these courses are perfect to start or continue learning data analysis, with a full suite of content covering data visualizations, algorithms, regression models, and more. Learn how to parse and visualize massive datasets from brands you know to make them easier to interpret. Plus, all content on Brilliant is crafted by an award-winning team of teachers, researchers, and professionals from Stanford, MIT, Caltech, Microsoft, Google, and more. To try Brilliant for free, visit brilliant.org/TLDR, scan the QR code on screen, or click the link in the description. By doing so, you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription, and they'll know you came from us, which really helps us out.